Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. Tonight, I've got something that's, it's been keeping me up. And let's be honest, that's not too hard to do. But this one is different. And that is because there is an object which I am thoroughly sure that all of you have heard about and have been waiting for my take on, moving through our solar system right now. And the deeper you look into it, the stranger it gets. Now, if you guys have been keeping up with the strange activity in space lately, or you saw my last recent video about 3 weeks ago or so where I first discussed the discovery of this anomalous object, then you've probably got a pretty good idea of what most people know, officially at least. You've probably heard the whispers about a mysterious interstellar visitor named officially 3I Atlas. But if not, don't worry. I've dug into the details and trust me, something doesn't add up here. Now, officially, the space agencies have said that 3I Atlas, which, by the way, is the third interstellar object ever detected entering our solar system, is basically just another boring comet passing through space. Case closed, right? Not even close. Because when you actually dig into the data, the facts don't line up, and some of what we're learning suggests that this could be one of the most significant and possibly artificial objects ever to pass through our cosmic neighborhood. So grab a drink, get comfortable, because we are going to break down in official Secure Team style what we know, what they aren't telling us, and why this thing could be a lot more than just a comet. 3I Atlas was first spotted by the Atlas telescope system in Hawaii, flagged immediately because of its steep hyperbolic orbit, meaning it's not bound to our sun. It came screaming in from interstellar space from the direction of Lyra, where it then swung around the sun and is now headed back out into the void. On paper, it's quote-unquote just a comet, a dirty snowball from another star system, knocked loose and drifting our way. That's the safe official version, but the closer we look, the less that story holds up. Now, about its size, estimates range from a few hundred meters up to several kilometers. But whatever it is, it's tearing through space at over 130,000 miles per hour, faster than anything humanity has ever launched. And here's the kicker, this thing could be ancient, possibly older than the sun itself, drifting through the galaxy for billions of years before it showed up here. And that brings us to today's new and very strange updates about 3I Atlas. So here is an update that just came in hot today, and it changes everything. The James Webb Space Telescope has finally taken its first close look at 3I Atlas using its powerful NIR spec instrument, and what it saw reportedly shocked researchers. Instead of a water-rich comet, which is the textbook model, Webb found a coma overwhelmingly dominated by carbon dioxide. We are talking one of the highest CO to water ratios ever measured, and it's not a fluke. NASA's new Sphere X mission confirmed the same thing, detecting a sprawling bright CO2 cloud around Atlas with almost no water vapor to be found. And yet, what's the official word? NASA is sticking with the, quote, natural comet label, brushing it off as just having, quote, very unusual proportions. So this weirdness is exactly what's fueling the debate, forcing the mainstream to stop ignoring the elephant in the room, and that elephant's name is Avi Loeb. So what do we have here? Because this story just continues to unravel. Just like with our old friend Oumuamua, the first interstellar object that caused a huge stir, 3I Atlas is not behaving like a normal comet, and I don't suspect it will anytime soon or with any further data that we do get. That's if it's even the real data. That's the problem with NASA and other space agencies is they lie. They cover up things, they release false or fake evidence, and then you have a ton of people online hating on you because they think that you gave them incorrect info, incorrect data, or that you were just making stuff up. But if you know the history of NASA and the other various space agencies, you'll know that they cannot be trusted, and their cover-ups have been uncovered many, many times in the past by others, as well as yours truly right here on Secure Team. So, despite this strangeness, NASA is sticking to their guns, saying that the nucleus of the object is likely under a kilometer across, made of CO2, water ice, and other volatiles, just in very unusual proportions. And as you'd expect, this has reignited debate, and most of the scientific community says that Avi Loeb's alien probe theory is far-fetched. But even now, they are being forced to directly address his claims instead of just ignoring them. So this is a war for the truth, and the divide is clear. The official line says natural comet, but the data keeps throwing curveballs. So next, I'm going to go one by one, talking about the other unusual things about this so-called comet. First, let's talk about the issue with the tail. Comets heat up, and when that happens, ice vaporizes, which then leaves gas and a dust trail behind. Classic science here, guys, but the Hubble telescope's images of Atlas showed something that should not exist, and that is a dust plume pointing toward the sun, or in other words, a comet with a tail facing in the wrong direction. So, you know how a typical comet gets close to a star and it starts to melt, and the ice and the dust burn off and trail behind it, forming that classic comet tail, always pointing away from the sun. And so 3i Atlas is doing the opposite. So yeah, we have a comet with a tail that's going the wrong way, and that's not supposed to happen. Scientists are calling it a, quote, sun-facing dust plume. But let's be real, nobody has a clear explanation yet, and it breaks all the rules. In fact, there's not much of any ice or water or gases coming off of this object at all, and the only thing that they've really detected is basically a thin cloud of dust coming off of it, not the typical chemical makeup that you would see with a comet, let alone a comet with a tail pointing the wrong direction as it heads towards our sun. Next, we have an issue with the chemical makeup. Too much CO2 and not enough water. Now, as I said earlier, typical comets pump out water vapor. They pump out CO. They pump out frozen gases. But 3i Atlas, it's spewing carbon dioxide, way more than water. Even when water is detected, it's only in trace amounts, far less than what you'd expect if this thing were really just ice and dust, and that's not normal. And what about the path or trajectory of 3i Atlas? Interstellar objects should be coming in from random angles, slicing through the solar system however they happen to arrive. But Atlas, it just so happens to be cruising almost perfectly aligned with the flat plane our planets orbit on, the ecliptic. That's not what randomness looks like. It looks deliberate. So much so that it has and will be making some very close passes right by many of the planets in our solar system, including Mars, Jupiter, and others. And this is a point that is bothering a good amount of researchers, because this thing just so happens to be coming in on a very clean path, almost perfectly lined up with the same flat plane that most of our planets orbit on, and that's weird. Interstellar objects should be coming in at all sorts of angles, not neatly aligned like this. It's like someone planned the route. Maybe it's a coincidence, but maybe not. But here is the real kicker. Observers have noted a non-gravitational acceleration. In other words, Atlas is getting a push from something besides gravity. Normally, scientists explain this with cometary outgassing, which are little jets of gas acting like rocket engines coming from the comet. Well, that explanation falls apart here, because for the amount of push Atlas is showing, it should have a massive glowing coma with bright jets streaming off of it. But it doesn't. Even the James Webb telescope, with its unmatched infrared eyes, sees an elongated, solid body with almost nothing coming off of it. Imagine watching a car speed down the street with no engine noise, no exhaust, no cause. That's what we're looking at here. And then there is Mr. Avi Loeb. You know him as the Harvard astrophysicist who argued that Oumuamua wasn't natural. Now he's pointing at Atlas, saying the same thing. Mr. Loeb notes the weird forward-facing glow, the unexplained acceleration, the absence of a normal tail. He's even suggested this thing could be nuclear-powered. And this guy isn't some internet crank. He's a Harvard professor, saying out loud what others won't, that we may be looking at something artificial. So let's put it all together. We have an interstellar object with a tail pointing the wrong way. It's spewing carbon dioxide instead of water. It's moving on a suspiciously perfect trajectory, passing very close to many of the other planets in our solar system. The object is also accelerating without an exhaust. Add on to that the Hubble and James Webb imagery and data apparently being held back. And we have a respected Harvard astrophysicist suggesting it could be powered even nuclear. And I have to say, before we jump off here, at what point do we stop calling this a comet and start calling it what it is? An unidentified, anomalous phenomena, a UAP in space, or a UFO. With everything happening right now, from UFO hearings, whistleblowers, mainstream disclosure, the timing couldn't be more interesting. So the question remains, is Atlas just a dead piece of cosmic debris passing through, or is it technology just passing by to say hello? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll be continuing to watch this one closely. So in the meantime, as always, you guys keep watching the skies and stick right here with Secure Team 10 for the best in new UFO and alien-related phenomena and the strange things happening on and off of our planet and those trying to cover it up. I am Tyler. Thank you guys for stopping by. As always, I just want to say that I appreciate and love all you guys. So stay tuned for much more. I've got some brand new UFO footage coming your way. I'm editing that video right now, and I promise it won't be posted a month away. So stick around right here. Much love, guys, and I'll see you back in just a bit. Stay safe.